Alright, boys and girls, so we went to Bug Jam and we got it on the track. So, not too eventful. We did have some small problems. First problem was on this side. Getting to the track, it's my own fault. Actually, everything that went wrong is my own fault. So this car has the power steering pump still on it. And I had a hose on here that was the pressure side of the original GM hose, and it was cut. And I tried shoving a pipe in it that would fit this hose here. It fit this hose, didn't fit the GM hose. Short story, blew off. So luckily I brought my imp with me and cut the tubing down here on the pressure side. Well, I didn't think of this earlier, and just used this hose that fits both in a fuel injection clamp, and that solved my problem. Luckily I had power steering fluid. Second problem is with the axle. Once again, my fault. When I put these axles in, they are not perfectly the right length, but I'm trying to do it with whatever parts I had, and these are Volkswagen. One side's a Volkswagen bus automatic axle, I think, and the other side is a Volkswagen Type 3 automatic axle. So when I put them in, they were too short. And what I did was, on this side, for some reason I left the clip on the bottom, but took the clip out the top. And I should have did that in reverse, because when this goes all the way down, on suspension drops all the way down, it can pull the axle out, because the axle can not only just slide down because of its length, but it can also go inside the CV joint until it bottoms out against the stub axle. If I would have put the clip on the top, it would be limited by the CV. Yes, it would pull out of the bottom CV some, but not all the way, because there's about another 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch that this can slide this way. So, long story short, VW Jawbreaker was there. A friend of his had an axle. Unfortunately, Volkswagen snap rings are not the same size as the aftermarket. They are thicker and bigger, so unfortunately that didn't work. And I ended up just putting it back together the way it was. So eventually I'll switch that around, put the snap ring on the other side, maybe measure for a real axle, I don't know. But I'm definitely going to just flop it around with the snap ring on the top. That was about it for breakdowns. Comfort and slight issues. So we've took this thing for a ride, and we found out the aerodynamics is horrible. Air comes along, it hits this front windshield, even with the bodywork still does it. Hits the front windshield and it goes way up in the sky. And back in here, everybody's like, oh, put the radiator here. It won't work, folks. There is no airflow here going 65 mile an hour down the road. It goes over and it just builds a slight turbulent area there. The wind blowing right now on those trees is more air than you can feel back there at 65. So that won't work anyways. I'm not going to put the radiator right behind somebody's head. So I put both fans on it. It has cleaned the radiator out, which was filthy. Not necessarily the radiator, the block. The radiator's brand new, but the block just has mud in it. And this all helps. It goes 55, no problem, stays at 190. You start going faster than that, the temperature starts climbing. So it was a 55 mile an hour trip the whole way there, and the way we go is like 160 miles because we go to the back roads. So it took a long time, plus stops. The next problem is heat. It would be nice to have some heat in this thing, because even though I blocked off most of the front end, I still had to keep a little area open to get to my gas cap. We're going to put a body on it some way, shape, or form. That's not the idea there. That was just to I thought it was going to rain, keep the rain off me. But we need some heat in this thing. It gets pretty cold out there when it's 50 degrees. And I know that won't be every time, but that is how it is in Florida. Every now and again it gets cold. So we need heat. And I do have the heater disconnected. And I need a little bit more cooling to be able to go 65 mile an hour. So here comes my idea. I bought a Scirocco radiator. These are known for their compactness and doing well for the size. That's interesting. I didn't even notice that before. Wonder what they expect me to do with that. Anyways, bought a Scirocco radiator. They have small inlet and outlets. I think they're 1.25 inches. So I don't want to hook that all the way in line with the main radiator because I think that's too small when these are about 1.5 inches hose fittings here. I think one on the bottom is like 1 5/8, top one is 1.5 inches. So I don't want to restrict that. What I'm thinking is to cut into the heater core line here, run the radiator down here, build a box or paneling around it, and run it through the heater core lines to be able to have a little extra cooling for the radiator and auxiliary heat when I need heat. That is the plan. I just noticed this fitting. I'm gonna have to get a fitting for that. That's nice. Anyways, that is the plan, boys and girls. Other than that, it worked really well. It did well on the track, except for the axle falling out, which is, like I say, my own fault. Took more time to get it apart than it did to fix it, and decided to walk around the show and check everything out while I was looking for the part. And put it back together, went out for a couple more laps, and then decided, you know, quit pushing my luck, because next time it probably will fall out and destroy something, and there was barely any new parts vendors there. I would have thought that I could have bought a brand new CV joint and stuff there. There was nobody with parts. I mean, there was 2 new part vendors, and they didn't have anything like that, amazingly. They had all the trinket stuff, which is what really sells anyways, is all the small things. So anyways, boys and girls, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you to VW Jawbreaker. Go check his channel out. I'm sure he'll have more video than I did. I got none because I was working on the car and just totally forgot. And every time I did remember to try and film, I was on the track and my phone was locked in the glove box. So good thing for locking glove boxes, right? Anyways, boys and girls, I'll talk to you later. Get out there and get your projects done.